Okay, let's unpack this. You probably use cloud storage, right? Like Microsoft OneDrive, maybe every single day.
Yeah, for documents, sharing files, working
Hmm.
with colleagues, partners.
Yeah,
It feels totally functional.
purely functional, exactly. But here's a thought that might surprise you. Could that tool, the one you barely think about, actually be, helping or even hurting your website's search engine ranking?
It's a connection most people would make. OneDrive is just seen as like a digital filing cabinet, right?
Right, not a strategic SEO tool.
Definitely not.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive. We've got this guide here that takes a really strategic look at optimizing OneDrive specifically for SEO performance.
Especially when you're working with partners, which is interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to pull out the most important bits, the real nuggets, to show you how some pretty simple tweaks,
Stuff you might already be doing almost.
almost, using a tool you already have, how that can actually boost your visibility, drive more traffic. It's like finding hidden SEO power just sitting there.
And it's fascinating how these small, everyday things you do in OneDrive,
Yeah.
naming a file, sharing a link, can ripple outwards and affect how search engines see your stuff.
So where do we start? The guide seems to really hammer home something basic right at the beginning.
Yeah.
File naming and metadata.
Yeah, it seems basic, but it's crucial.
We all name files, obviously.
Oh, wait.
But how you name them in OneDrive,
No.
it's more than just keeping things tidy. It's an SEO signal.
Absolutely. And this is one of those key insights. Search engines are always trying to figure out context, what your content is about.
Okay.
So if you name a file like report final v3 edited.pdf, that tells Google basically nothing useful.
Yeah, totally opaque.
But if you follow the guide's advice and use descriptive names, maybe with keywords, something like Microsoft OneDrive Partnership SEO Guide-2024.pdf, you're
Oh.
immediately signaling relevance. It helps those algorithms categorize your document correctly instead of it getting lost.
So it might actually get found and indexed properly.
Exactly. And then there's metadata, the
Yeah.
data about the file, like descriptions, authors, tags. You could often edit this in the file properties before uploading.
Oh.
That gives even more context.
Wow. So just taking, 10 extra seconds on a file name, that could actually help someone find it through a search engine? That feels like really high leverage.
It absolutely is. Minimal effort, potential big impact.
Okay, so building on that discoverability idea, what about sharing files? We send out links from OneDrive all the time.
Right, and this brings up the links themselves. The guide points out that the default sharing links OneDrive spits out are often just random characters.
Yeah, like onedrive.live.com/gibberish123. Totally meaningless.
Completely meaningless, both to search engines trying to crawl it and to a human wondering if they should click it.
Makes sense.
But OneDrive often lets you customize those share links. You can sometimes change that random string to something descriptive.
Like onedrive.live.com, your awesome report title.
Exactly. Something like Microsoft OneDrive Partnership Guide. Suddenly, the link itself is informative and keyword relevant. This helps search engines index the content behind it, and it looks more trustworthy for users to click on.
So you're making it machine readable and human clickable.
Precisely. Two birds, one stone.
Okay, so file naming, optimizing shared links. Two big takeaways already. The guide also mentions integrating OneDrive files onto your website. How does that play into SEO?
Speed. Page load speed is a massive SEO factor now.
Right, slow pages get penalized.
Definitely. So if you're hosting large files, big PDFs, high-res images, complex presentations directly on your own website server, they can really drag down your page load times.
Okay, I see where this is going.
By embedding those files from OneDrive using their tools instead of uploading them straight to your site, you're basically letting Microsoft's powerful servers handle the heavy lifting for that specific asset.
So the rest of your page loads fast, but the big file is still accessible.
Exactly. It often means faster load times for that content on your page, improving user experience, and potentially boosting your SEO score without you having to manage the file storage directly on your site.
That's clever, using their infrastructure to your advantage. Now, the source talks quite a bit about collaboration, especially with partners. If you've got multiple people in shared folders, how does that tie in?
Yeah, consistency becomes really, really important here. If you and your partners are all working in a shared OneDrive space
Which happens all the time.
all the time, making sure everyone follows these best practices makes the whole ecosystem stronger for SEO.
So encouraging partners to use those descriptive file names too.
Yes, and adding alt text to images inside the documents they upload, that's the description for images.
Crucial for accessibility in SEO.
Right. And maintaining a logical folder structure. It's about creating a kind of shared, optimized digital library.
instead of a digital junk drawer.
Exactly. If one person is meticulous and the next just dumps files named Document 1, it weakens the overall discoverability. When everyone is on the same page, that shared content becomes a much more valuable indexable asset pool.
Makes sense. And did the guide mention anything else on the collaboration front?
Yeah, briefly it touched on using OneDrive for content syndication. Basically, distributing your good content reports, white papers, to partners or affiliates through shared folders.
Okay.
By making sure that shared content is optimized keywords, maybe even links back to your main site within the documents you're not just sharing, you're amplifying reach and potentially boosting your own site's authority.
Because those links and relevant content spread further.
Right. It contributes to how trustworthy and authoritative search engines see your whole website. Higher authority generally means better ranking potential.
So the underlying theme here is really about treating OneDrive and any shared spaces like it, not just as storage, but as an active, optimizable part of your digital strategy.
Yeah, every file name, every share link, every folder structure,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity.
It definitely requires a bit of a mindset shift, doesn't it? Moving from just dumping files to strategically managing discoverable assets.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And that really leads us to a final thought for you, the listener. If a tool that seems so, well, simple and everyday like cloud storage has this kind of hidden SEO potential, what other common business tools that you use constantly might have powerful capabilities you're overlooking? What else could be optimized right under your nose?